wholeness, beautiful beings. Welcome to Notes of Nara. My name is Nadra Rashida, and may this message find you well and whole. This was a long week, a long, very long week, but oh goodness. I don't know. It's so crazy how conditioning and programming and normalized chaos can really kind of fuck with your head. It can. Just was talking to my father today. A bit actually, and my dad has always been, I would say, a neutralizer when it comes to getting caught up in life's curveballs, whether that's financial or relationship or money or, job, spiritual, religious stuff, social stuff, political stuff. He's always been very neutral and kind of almost like playing the devil's advocate, but certainly not the devil, just really kind of like, well, you think you got it rough, there's always someone who has it worse off. Like I could say, oh, wow, my workload is so much. Oh, wow, I'm complaining, right? I'm venting about the work culture in the Western world that I grew up in. And my dad will say, oh, well, at least you're safe. At least you don't have a missile going through or bullets going through your window. At least you can go to your water faucet and turn it on and you have running water. It's pretty clean, not perfect, but it's clean to drink. Or at least you have, Wi-Fi or electricity. My dad was always very the type of person that would say, I remember being in my 20s, and in your 20s you face real life shit for the first time and you just freak out. You make that phone call. It's so funny when you move away from home for the first time, you're like, I can do it on my own. I don't need to call my parents. I don't need to talk to them. I'm an adult now. You don't say it out loud, but it's like this thing, it's part of growing up. And until you meet that first punch, that first blow that life deals you, and you call that person, you call that uncle or that aunt or whoever raised you, your grandparents or your mom or your dad. Even you may not have the best relationship with them either, but you call them and you reach out. And my dad would say, well, hey, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. That sounds really tough. It's pretty shitty. Did you drink some water? When's the last time you ate something? Did you clean your room? Did you go for a walk? Did you touch your instrument? He would always ask me, did you play music? Did you touch your instrument? Did you touch your cello? You don't even have to play it, just dust it off. And trying to apply that to my current adult life at the moment, I'm like, it's so interesting how we have to numb ourselves to the point of, just not feeling. And I'm a feeler. Art makes me feel alive. Watching art makes me feel, it brings me to life, and it awakens the numbed out parts of myself that I turn off so that I can survive, something unhealthy, whether that's a relationship or that's a workplace, work environment, or, just you're kind of making yourself crawling out of a rut in life. And I would say that at each day when I come home, no matter if it's only a couple minutes, I'm touching an instrument, I'm drawing something, I'm writing a poem, I am doing something where I'm creating something. no matter how exhausted I am, because it's something that it allows my soul to be felt and not shut down and shut up and pin up. I'm gonna share some poetry with you guys. I'm writing a lot more, and one of my future projects will definitely be writing a book eventually. But one thing at a time, right? One thing at a time. I thought this week I would be doing a lot more of the, integration of my poetry and my music and my artwork for the 5 Petal Project. And I just, I'll stress this because I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to go to bed. It is so crucial that we all design the life that is meant for us to live, to love, to spread joy in. Oftentimes we chase after a life that doesn't really belong to us. And we often say, well, okay, I am, you're tired, you're worn out, you're burnt out, you're this, you're that. And when you get to that point when you're spending a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a decade, 15 years, and you are just worn down, maybe you spent all that time doing the wrong thing. And I'm not going to say it's wrong, just something that really isn't in alignment for you. When you're not in alignment of your purpose, you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel worn down, you're going to feel burnt out. And maybe the lesson the whole time was to get to that point where you realize that. A lot of the times, and especially in relationships, you're wondering, why is this so hard? Why is this so weird? Why is this, I feel confused? Because you're not with a person that's aligned with you. They're not aligned with you. And that's why it feels off. When you feel it's synced and it's lined up, it's meant to be. Everything just flows. I'm not saying it's easy. It's just, it has a very natural flow where you don't fight your body to keep pushing when you're exhausted. You don't, and with a partner, you don't fight to get the last word in to prove them wrong. No, there's a natural flow, an ebb and flow with the positive and negative energies that we embody. So if you find yourself dog tired, exhausted, run down, I'm not saying give up and walk away from everything, but you really need to start asking yourself the hard question. Is this in alignment for me? Am I truly in alignment with my purpose? Because I kid you not, we live in the times now, and I feel like even the frequency on a collective level, if you're not in alignment for what you're meant to be or who you are or your purpose, you're spending your whole life out of alignment until you choose to get back into alignment or you choose alignment. See, that's the thing. We have to choose to be in alignment. It's not just something that can just happen, right? And maybe, I do believe in the whole reincarnation thing a bit, that our souls, before we come into this life or many lives, I find it's easier for me not to get locked onto any kind of belief system because no one really has all the answers. You can write it down in books and holy books and occultic knowledge and all that other stuff, but the sacred books or the sacred book that we have, the hidden knowledge is within us. You can get all the things outside of you that will help you and guide you, but they'll point you right back to you. I don't even, what was the point I was going to make here? But yeah, we have to choose alignment. Oh yes, there's some people who boom, they're You know, for example, I'll use the famous musical family, the Jackson Five, right? They're in poverty. They're from Gary, Indiana. And Gary to this day is toe up from the flow up, meaning it's a very, very poor city in the US. And one of the poorest, one of the most dangerous, one of the most run down cities, I think, not in the world, but I would say in the US by far. But that's where Michael Jackson was born. And they were they were in poverty, American poverty. Let me be very stressful with that stress that because there's a very big difference between developing world poverty and American poverty, Western poverty. Okay, I'm very much aware of that. But no, his fault. One day, they were in need of some money. The dad looked at opportunity. A couple of his kids were playing with his instruments. He wanted to be a musician, didn't work out. He had a whole tribe of kids, put it together, voila, so the purpose sometimes can be just laid out for you, and then other times for other souls it takes decades. Sometimes your purpose is introduced to you, but you're not ready for it, and so it is thus put on the back burner for you to pick up in the next season and cycle in your life. It's not all linear. Excuse me. We want it to be linear. We want that easy kind of walk in that path, like for example, you want to be a doctor. That path may be I'm not going to say it's the easiest to obtain. Absolutely not. It's one of the hardest paths anybody can take. You have to sacrifice quite a lot to obtain your license as a doctor, as a physician. However, it's a path that has been laid out perfectly for you. In a sense, you know how much time it's going to take to get to that, right? Really, 12, 15 years, especially if you want to specialize in something or you want to become a surgeon, right? You do the math, how much money, how much investment you have to put in it, take out the loans, all that. And then you have people like me, right? I have an inkling that my purpose, I was introduced to it, and then I needed to do a lot of work. I needed to have very specific life experiences. I needed to travel all over my country, and I needed to have certain relationships. I needed to learn about self-worth, self-value, exploitation, right? I needed to learn these things. I needed to learn how not to become an emotional nurse to undeserving people or employers, right? Or being that brick or that pillar, that holds up the whole house, but no one's holding you up, right? It's really, I've had to learn quite a lot. I've had to experience quite a lot. And I find that now in my early middle-aged season in my life, I feel ready to, recall this part of myself for my purpose. We have to give meaning and purpose to ourselves, but that's, honoring what's already there. So if you have a calling to write. If you have a calling to make movies or to film or to, run a business, do it. And guess what? Fail 1,000 times. Fail over and over. Or I didn't make enough money, or I didn't have enough money, or I made a product and the product sucked, no one bought it, or I wrote a book but no one will publish it, or I can't find the right editor, right? You have to go through all of the no's. You can't wait for things to be perfect. You can't wait to just, let me get this language down, let me master, be completely fluent in this language or that language in order for me to, be accepted into a society, right? I know people who've done that. No, You need to just jump in there, do it, right? I've met so many people all over the world. They could barely speak a lick of English, or they struggled with it a lot. But they didn't let the language stop them. You just gotta do. You have to do it. Oh, I need enough money. Okay, yeah, like especially if you're a traveler, you have to, you learn, right? You learn how to budget and how to take calculated risks, right? It's all about calculated risks. But you can't wait on like everything, all your rubber duckies, like being lined up in a row. That's not living. That's being fearful because you have no control over the outcome. You don't. You only have control over the process and how much you invest in the process. So again, the question is that, you have to choose when and how and why, when it comes to getting in alignment with yourself. Not in alignment of a lover, not in alignment for your family, not in alignment for your religion or spiritual practice, not in alignment for your career. I mean, it could be any of those things I just listed, but I'm just saying, just for you. If you truly want to commit to a life of authenticity and, freedom and whatnot, the biggest cost is when you ignore that call and you then just, to stay safe, to have that safe income, to have that safe relationship where that person's dependable, they're showing up for you, but it's incompatible, like there's millions of people around the world. I see it every day, and I'm always blessed when I bump into someone who's living authentically. Whether they're a stay-at-home mom, or they're a CEO of their little company, or they're a filmmaker, or they are a musician or an artist or an author, or they're a dancer, or they are committing themselves to a deeply spiritual path. I honor those who choose to get in alignment of what is authentic to them, despite everything else. That's the bravest thing I think any human being can do. And I'm finding now, even when it comes to like the current political climate, it's just fake. It's like these group of people, small percentage of people that are trying to uphold something that's not in alignment of the world culture. War isn't an alignment of the world culture right now. It's not. There was a season where, astrologically speaking, it was. It really was. World War II, World War I, right? It's almost like, you have someone who's just singing the same song from another decade over and over and over and over again. It can't stop, won't stop. They're just trapped in like this nostalgic loop, and they want to take everybody with them, and when you're living it authentically, you're not worried about taking everybody with you. Like, I remember when I was 12 years old, and that's when I decided I wanted to move to France. I wanted to move to Europe. I was 12, and I was already taking French lessons for, I was exposed to French language. And my mom, she had a friend from Haiti, and she started giving me lessons. And then I started taking, was part of my education, and this wonderful, she was amazing French teacher. She was from England. Her name was Pamela Cook. She was really very sweet, and she taught me French. I'm very lucky to have had that experience at such a young age. But I started learning at school, private school, and I told myself at 12, I said, I'm going to France. And, it took me 10 years from that moment. But that was an authentic choice that I made for myself. I wasn't doing that to prove anything to anybody, to prove anything to myself, really. I just loved the culture, and I loved, just something. Maybe it's a past life thing, I don't know. But I just say that as an example. When you're making real authentic choices for yourself, you're usually alone. It's a very solitary space when you're being authentic, when you're choosing alignment for yourself. But yeah, so you're coming home tired from your job, constantly burnout, you're unhappy, you're, in anything in your life, and it's not just, oh, so no, it's a rough day, bad day, or challenging day. Like today, or this week, as far as my creativity goes, it's been a rough week. It has, but I've touched my instrument. I play them, every day. It could be 2 minutes. I just stroke it, clean it. I know that, and also journaling. I've been making myself journal, again, and I don't want to keep ranting because I am getting very tired, but yeah, you have to choose alignment. You can't wait for alignment. And the universe, your soul, spirit will help you, right? It will remove people from your life. It will bring people into your life. It will remove blockages and jobs and living situations, right? And then it'll bring in new jobs, new opportunities, and new of gaining financial abundance. And it'll put you in new spaces and places that you need for your growth. So, yeah, you have to choose alignment. Don't wait for it. Okay? So, that's it. Man, that is it. But I'm really excited for next week and the content coming your way and this journey with my octave mandolin. She has a name, but I'm going to keep it secret. I'll share it in time, I think, because our relationship is only a couple of months old, so I don't want to, put it all out there yet. It takes time to establish a deep connection with your instrument. You got to go through some things, and it's just really cool. Like now, oh my gosh, 3 days ago with the reel that I'm teaching myself now, I was just like, how am I going to play this? And now I'm slowly learning how to play it. And it's really cool. I'm excited. It's like a highlight of my day. I can come home like, oh, I can play my instrument. So with that, thank you so much. Just remember, you have to choose to be in alignment. Don't wait for it. Good night, everybody. Wholeness.